That's interesting. What's the first one say, Arbor Day? Oh, okay. Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Recreation Board meeting for Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Collier.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Member Clark.
Present.
Member Cooper.
Present.
Member Mapes.
Present.
And let's see, Member Scott and Member Manson are absent tonight.
Okay, next we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. All rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is personal appearances. We have none and no presentations. So at this time, I will ask for a motion to approve our consent agenda for June 27th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
I will second that.
Okay, hearing a first and second. Any changes that anybody sees? Nope. Then we'll take it to vote. All those in favor? It passes 5-0, 2 absent. Next, we'll move on to staff reports. Director?
Thanks, sir. Mr. Brennan is on vacation. He submitted a written report, and so I will pass it on to Mr. Rulo for a parks report.
Thank you. I also submitted a written report. Just want to hit on a couple key items. I wanted to publicly thank the Public Works Department for helping us out. A couple weeks ago, they took their arm mower out to Hawk Ridge Park and mowed around Johnston Lake. Did an excellent job. We followed it up with some chemical spray to keep down on some of the shrubby woods that comes up every year. If you haven't seen it, they did an excellent job, so wanted to thank them. Also just wanted to let you know that the new playground project going in at Recreation Park, all the pieces are in the ground. The sub base is in, and we're just waiting on the concrete and then the rubber to be poured in. Should be coming up here very soon, so looks great. Very clean job, very quick job, so we've been very impressed. I know I had something else. And basically, my guys, it finally rained, so we're out mowing again on a full schedule. It's kind of weird, but we are, and glad to see it because we needed it. With that, I would take any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? Patrick?
Not a question so much as a comment or an observation that the mist station out at the Spirit of America Festival, I think, was very greatly appreciated and well used from what I could tell. And driving in and out, the parking situation, I don't know how the staff felt, but it appeared that everything moved along from what I had seen. So I thought it all went very well.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on.
Anyone else? No? Thank you, Superintendent. Director?
Thanks, sir. I submitted a written report. It was also presented to the City Council last night. A couple of things I hit with them or updated the council on was our playground project that Mr. Rulo talked about, the rack expansion, which if you've been out there, you've seen the fences and everything up. We anticipate the heavy machinery will be mobilized any day right now. They're doing a lot of pre-ordering of material supplies to cut back on some of that lead time. We also have been working on our disc golf CIP program or project that we had budgeted. We know in talking with former board member Eric Eastwood, the time for that project is typically in the winter. We didn't have enough time to engage that last year, so we're working on that now. I prepared a request for quotes for help with design on that project. We anticipate that being under 10,000, so for the design, well under that, so we don't need to go to bid. So we're just sending out quotes to interested parties, and we'll engage somebody to help us design and manage construction on that. Once we have what we want to do with the redesign of that, then we'll bid it out for small landscape companies, small construction companies that could come in and help us do that work over the winter time. And let's see, we have a couple weeks left of summer camp, and then we're moving into the fall. I also made mention of our article that I emailed all of you in our MPRA magazine. Melissa with the communications, she helped write that article and submit that. So she presented that to the city council last night, even though it was in our staff report. But it's pretty good coverage on a nice program. And so to finalize my report, city council did pass my request to close that project and make final payments. So that is officially over. The only thing now what's left is to submit reimbursement for the grant, the land water grant, but I couldn't do that until final pay and resolution was made. So we did step one of doing our reimbursement on that. That concludes staff report. Happy to answer any questions, sir.
Any questions for the director? No. Awesome. Thank you, sir. We are going to skip over unfinished business, as we have none, and we're going to move directly to new business. Action item A, FY24 Capital Improvement Plan. Director?
Thank you, sir. As the board is aware, every year we review our 5-year capital plan. Typically, we go over this in a few of our work sessions prior to bringing it to the meeting. It is required that this board makes a formal recommendation of the capital plan to the city council. And so what we've done is I've provided the overall 5-year plan in your first attachment, and then the following sheets are your project plans in a brief page or picture of what the project is referencing. As discussed in our work session, quick briefing, and then I can answer any questions. We basically took last year's plan and we pushed it all back a year, knowing that the city's under the comprehensive plan, redoing the comprehensive plan. With that, we should get a very good recommendation from the consultants of what our plan should be over the next 15, 20 years. So the board and I discussed that instead of putting a lot of effort into the next 3 or 4 years, let's just push those projects back until we get that comprehensive plan done. With that being said, staff recommended 3 projects that would be an immediate impact that weren't in the overall plan for the future years. That's something that we could get done and make an immediate impact on the community. Number 1 is the Plaza Shelter. That is an addition, not a part of the bond project, but it is an addition that we wanted to do with the bond projects at Hawkridge Park. Unfortunately, it's been almost 4 years since that bond was passed, and the prices continue to rise. So this particular project is to help supplement what we want to do at the plaza, and it also would be used as matching funds for a land water conservation grant. There's no guarantee you get one, but having already gotten one for Hawkridge Park, the playground in that park, they look favorably on that because a lot of the hurdles are already taken care of. So it felt like a good use, and if we don't get the grant, we still have that funding that we can put towards the project one way or the other. Secondly is pickleball courts. In the original Hawkridge Park plan, we had proposed to do pickleball courts out there. Construction of that was skyrocketing up into $450,000, $500,000 to put that infrastructure in. and I just didn't feel like it was a very good use of funds for pickleball courts. Opportunity with the skate park being relocated to the old park house, and then the old skate park having a concrete pad there and infrastructure. We did some quick measurements, and we recommend, and I had two different companies come out to give quotes on what it would cost to convert that if the equipment, the old skate equipment was off of that. And so we feel like that's a very good project to put in place. It's a good spot for it because it's not near any residential homes or neighborhoods, so the pinging of the ball doesn't necessarily echo into those neighborhoods. And it's right next to parking, restrooms, concessions. It has water there, and so we're recommending pickleball courts to go in place of the old skate park. And then finally, we've had some requests for additional basketball courts. We have the one outdoor court at Rec Park, tends to get monopolized, and if you go out there, it's busy all the time. And so we've had several families over the course of the past few years request if we could build another outdoor basketball court at some point. The athletic area at Hawk Ridge Park lends itself nicely because we have parking. We have the permanent porta pot facility out there, connection to the trails, and a very flat area. So felt like this would be a good time to improve that area, put a court in that's on the north side of 58 where we don't have a lot of recreation amenities. And that was our proposal. The park board has seen these plans, have seen all of this in previous work sessions. We worked through some discussion and some things on that, and so presenting that tonight for approval. It will go to the city manager next week, and his as the entire city staff presents projects. And if it meets his budget requirements, then it will go on to city council in August for same type of presentation. That concludes staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? Dan?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions when it comes to the pickleball court. And is there a plan for selling or relocating any of that skate equipment?
It will be placed into GovDeals auction. So it'll be a public auction. We have to use, if we're to get rid of it, if it's still usable, we have to auction it. Unless we want to relocate it, which we don't have any immediate plans to do that right now, and most of it is usable and doesn't need to be thrown away unless it's damaged when it's taken apart. But so for now, our intention was if this program passes, then we would probably put it on GovDeals and auction that, and then the funds would go right back into, we can designate whatever money that brings in, we can designate that amount to go to the new skate park for improvements, or we can just put it back into capital for fund balance. But
Is that a public auction, or is that only like municipalities that?
no,
can-
once it goes to govdeals.com, anybody can bid on that.
Okay.
So you could go out and buy it, put it in your backyard if you wanted to at that point.
Just wondering, I didn't want it to get thrown in the trash or
No,
anything like that.
we won't do
So I
that.
was just
Unless
wondering.
it is just damaged and beyond repair, we wouldn't do that. We would auction it. And
Right.
the American Ram Company recommended that it's usable, it needs to be refurbished, and so that the auction would be the best option for us to get some money value back out of that equipment.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for the director? Director, can you remind me of just a bullet point of what we think the timeline on the rack will be? I mean, in terms of months, do they have a set?
Yeah, the expansion right now, the contract is a one-year contract. So by the time it got through and their bid bonds and all of those things came through, it's basically July 1st of next year is when they're contractually obligated. As of now, it's early in the project, so everybody's positive and stuff, so they're thinking it's earlier, and they want it to be earlier. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, we're kind of hoping June 1st, so we have it for the full summer camp. But July 1st is their obligated date.
Sure, perfect. Any other questions? Josh?
I have a few quick questions. Does the basketball court, is it going to have a fence around it, or is it just going to be the asphalt?
Right now, what is bid is just the asphalt. If we can bid, and I had intended to do like a small 4-foot chain link as an alternate bid around there, just to keep balls from falling down, down through the hill or into the yard and stuff like that, so.
Then the scope of the pickleball court, we'll use the existing slab that's there
Yes.
and resurface it? I mean, what all does that include?
They'll go in and basically do kind of a treatment on the concrete, which is crack seal and things like that. And then
So it is concrete, not asphalt?
it is a concrete pad.
Makes sense.
And then we have two options of whether we do like a slurry seal or an asphalt overlay, or we can do more like a tiled sport court, kind of like what we have in the rack, but it's made for outdoor courts. We could do either. So what my intentions were is to research what the best are, because the sport courts are clearly cheaper, but I want to make sure it's the best surface. And so I'll be talking to some pickleball players and other facilities to see what they recommend. But we have the funding to do the asphalt overlay, so we have the higher price to do what we want to do. But I want to just do what the best surface is.
And then my last question is, the plaza at Hawk Ridge, like what is your vision for this space? Like, what would it be used for, and where's it at exactly? I can't really tell by the map.
As far as proximity, it is due east of your house. So
Like by 200 feet.
it's the point on the corner point of the lake. So where on that picture where you see the sidewalk kind of going down on that picture, that is going straight to the point of the lake. So right there is the corner.
Is that another bathroom then, or what is that?
That is a proposed 4-unit restroom and storage that could be used as concessions. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, that is secondary to the plaza. The plaza facility is kind of like the Lion Shelter, only about twice the size, so that we could use the amphitheater for weddings, and then you could do receptions underneath that plaza with lights in the lake, or we could use it as a event space, rental space, family reunions, things like that. Honestly, it's a very nice, large picnic shelter is what it is. But it should complement the amphitheater. What we would like to do is have between the center view, the amphitheater, and the plaza, kind of have that 1-2 punch where you've got options of indoor, outdoor weddings and receptions, and all within just a mile of each other, right off Sunset. So that was the ultimate plan.
Thank you. I didn't know, I just wanted to hear what your exact
Just-
vision was and stuff like that, so.
It continues to rise in cost, and I still want to push forward. I don't know if we'll end up being able to, but that funding will go to improvements at Hawk Ridge East regardless, because we do have money for projects over there. This was one that we just wanted to kind of beef up and add to it and for those purposes.
Think of Raymore Palooza, where bands are playing there, they're over here, and just a big festival. Any other questions for the director?
Just one.
Ken?
On the pickleball court lighting, is it timer, is there like a time limit so people can't play at 2 a.m.?
Yes, yeah, it's, the park rules have, lights are off at 11, park closes at 11 at
Yeah, it
night.
just
So
follows
our
that.
tennis lights the baseball lights are manually, we turn those on, but the tennis and basketball lights now are on push button, and the timer shuts them off automatically. Is it 11? And so we anticipate this would be the same thing. And the lights for the pickleball would be like basketball, which is just 2 drop down. And that quote is in there, it would get bid, but that is strictly based on funding, how the bids come out.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anyone else? Awesome, thank you. At this point, we'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion
Okay,
to approve the fiscal year '24 capital improvement plan.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, hearing a first and second, any discussion? Dan?
Yeah, I had one discussion point. You know, I do support the pickleball idea. I think it's saving us a lot of money. I think pickleball is really popular. I do, however, think it's sort of a mistake to take the skate park out at this point when we've only built half of the new skate park. So I just wanted to make that point, and I'll be doing my best to make that point more in the future as well.
Noted. Anyone else? Okay. At this point, we will take it to a vote. All those in favor? Okay. Passes 5-0, 2 absent. Next, we'll move on to action item B, FY24 schedule of fees. Director?
Very similar to the capital and the budget that we will review is the park board must review and approve the schedule of fees every year for recommendation to the city council. And for some reason, do you guys have the schedule of fees in your packet? Okay.
Fees.
I just didn't print it out on my own, so that's fine. I was just making sure you, okay. So this schedule of fees is, it basically sets our rental procedures and cost points for, you know, our picnic shelters, our ice rink rentals, Centerview, anything like that that's not program or league related. Those are things that help us gauge our budget. What usually happens is we go through the budget, and if we make any adjustments on those prices to help balance the budget, or it's time to raise fees or lower fees or whatever the case may be, we make those changes, and then we submit them to you during this time for you to review. If you approve of that, then it goes to the city council, and they approve the entire city schedule of fees. So water rates, sewer rates, permits for if you're building pool stuff, that's all in one document. This is our portion of it. Based off memory, since I don't have mine, I think there's two. One would be the farmer's market, which is a vendor fee, and then somebody could refresh it. This
Ice rink.
private rental of the ice rink, yes, that went up $20 for, it was 180 for 2 hours, and it's 200 for 2 hours. So those are the only changes we're recommending.
What were those, so 180 for the ice rink, and then what was the booth rental before this change?
15.
Okay.
That's 15 for vendor for the month, isn't it? Yeah, so it's only $20 oh, 150, I'm sorry.
So with the ice rink, is the reasoning for that are you assuming it's not already like frozen and brought up, or is it all set up? We're just,
No, that's if you wanted to rent it for a party. It would
Okay.
cost you $200 for 2 hours.
okay.
That includes 20 skates and
Oh,
private
it
use.
includes the skates?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I wasn't
private use of
understanding
it.
that. Okay.
And I'm sorry,
I was gonna say, it's kind of expensive.
it was 150.
But when you include the skates, it makes sense. so.
It's private, it's with skates, and then it's usually, the package includes like hot chocolate and stuff, kind of a complimentary thing from the concession, so
Seems like a good deal then.
it's not a bad deal, and frankly, it needs to make some money, so. Those are the only two, I believe, that we made changes. Last year, we had a lot of changes at Centerview, and so we try to go about every other year with minimal to huge increases, but that concludes the staff report on that, sir.
Any questions for the director? I will throw out there before we go there, yeah, the skating was underpriced on purpose, but yeah, we've got to make some money, so absolutely. Go ahead, Dan.
My only thing was, you know, I get comments from residents that how affordable our rentals are, and I see we're only changing a couple of them, but I think residents, they do appreciate how affordable it is to use our park system, and it makes it more accessible for more people whenever we're not, you know, charging outrageous rentals. So I like that we didn't make a lot of changes, and the changes we made weren't too drastic, so.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else have questions for the director? Okay, seeing no others, we will move on to, can I get a motion? Yes, Patrick.
I make a motion to approve the schedule of fees as provided by the director in our packet.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
hearing a first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor? Passes 5-0, 2 absent. Seeing no public comment, we will move directly to board comment. I'll start with you, Josh.
I don't have much. I read the article in the Missouri Parks and Rec, and that's great exposure for us locally, so congratulations on that. You guys did a great job.
I will say one thing on that is typically when we submit, and Melissa mentioned this to the council last night, she and I both know, usually when we submit an article, we usually get front cover. And we were expecting front cover, and I know that that's arrogant, but we were. What's funny though is it kind of serves them right is on the front cover, that's equipment we already have in our park. That's at Rec Park, so we've already put that in there. But then there is an article referenced on the front cover that has, I believe it's us or another article telling what page. Well, it's the wrong page. It sends them to our article anyway. So
Right.
we're getting twice the exposure for not being on the cover anyway. So we thought that was kind of funny that you didn't put us on the cover, but you did a typo that leads everybody straight to us anyway. So we appreciate that from them.
No charge, Josh, no charge. Let's move on to Dan.
I don't have any additional comments.
Thank you, sir. Ken,
No comments this week.
Patrick.
Oh, just again, we had a good time at the Spirit of America Festival. Really enjoyed what was available in the food trucks, a little bit of variety there. The outdoor games was great, and I saw other board members there too. So that was a good time and good coverage. It's always nice to be in a statewide publication.
Josh, go ahead.
I apologize. I should have brought this up earlier. The mud run is the 18th. Do you guys need volunteers, or what do you need?
I'll pass that to you because I wasn't there today.
I think we can always use volunteers, especially for that event, because we like to try to have at least 2 people at every water hole, just for safety reasons. I'm sure once we nail down everything that's going to happen and you know, some of our different obstacles, that we may send something out to everybody again, and you know, if you're available and you'd like to, we'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Good point. I'm going to close by, it's funny, every time we build something new and we see it about 2 to 4 weeks before, you start seeing what is commonly called looky-loos. And normally you don't like looky-loos, but it's awesome now. As I walk the playground in the morning, how many people walk over now to what's going to happen next? We've had a lot of good what's happening next moments where it's going to continue with the rack and so forth. And it's always great to see the public looking out. What are they doing next? What are they doing next? So awesome job, guys. Also, I want to say, I know it was tough on the summer camp for us. I know a lot of cities do summer camp outside. And we didn't have the rack this year, but it's amazing. Again, anytime that I've gone by there, those kids are out having a blast. So kudos to that staff. I know I said it before, but I'm going to continue because that's a hard thing to do, go from everything that you have indoor and then the trips you take to planning everything outdoor, making sure safety's taken care of and so forth. So great job for your staff on that, because the kids are still having fun. So with that, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Hearing a first and second. All those in favor of adjourning? Passes 5-0, 2 absent. Meeting adjourned.